And we started. Go, Ellen.
According to the Bureau of Justice Statistics, 9 in 10 victims of rape and sexual assault on college campuses knew their offender. In another study, 1 in 20 women reported being raped in college since the beginning of the year. That's within a span of 7 months. It's kind of creepy, right? So, sexual assault on college campuses is an occurrence in our modern culture that is swept under the rug far too often due to miseducation and neglect. The purpose of my speech today is to inform you all about the issue of sexual assault on college campuses and how often we think that college is a safe place from the outside world, but it can often be just as dangerous. So it's our job as college students to know the signs and to play an active role in preventing it from occurring. I did a lot of research on the subject. I took a class actually relating to some of the stuff I'm going to be talking about later. And I have personal stories from friends and family members. So I definitely did my research on the subject. There's a lot of information about every aspect of sexual assault that the majority of people, especially young people on college campuses, don't even know exist, and they don't know the real definitions of the terms. How many people know what's actually considered sexual assault? None of you. So, according to the U.S. Department of Justice, sexual assault is any type of sexual contact or behavior that occurs without the explicit consent of the recipient. Falling under the definition of sexual assault are sexual activities such as forced sexual intercourse, fondling, attempted rape, incest, etc. And a lot of people think, oh, well, doesn't this only happen to women? Sexual assault doesn't only happen to women. It affects every race, gender, and sexual orientation. About 3% of American men, so 1 in 33, have experienced an attempted or completed rape in their lifetime. From 1995 to 2010, 9% of rape victims were men. There's people who also believe that in instances the women were asking for it because of either the way they were dressed, their attitude, or their sobriety at the time. This myth of asking for it is like saying people ask to be mugged or robbed or get something stolen from them. It's the same concept, basically. Surprisingly, 60 to 70% of rapes were at least partially planned in advance, and the victim is often threatened, either physically, emotionally. If they don't do it, it's bad news for them. From one of the statistics I stated at the beginning, 72% of those assaults happened when the victims were so intoxicated they couldn't consent or refuse. Without consent, it is considered rape. After hearing this, you may be wondering, well, how do colleges handle the situations differently from regular police officers? There's actually laws set just for college campuses to deal with these conflicts, and it's called Title IX. So this is my visual aid, and it lists the 9 things to know about Title IX. Title IX is a landmark civil right that prevents sexual discrimination in education. It also addresses sexual harassment, gender-based discrimination, sexual violence, attempted rape, all that stuff. So your school is required to have an established procedure for handling complaints on these actions. So there's somebody that will have an office, and you go in there and you report what happened, and they're supposed to take down the information, and there's a lot of steps to it. I personally went to a Title IX workshop where I learned the basics of what Title IX is all about and the steps and how you can report things and how to know the signs of your friends or people that you see are affected by it. The next step to being more knowledgeable is to be aware of the support groups and advocacy groups for these kinds of crimes on campus. There's numerous groups that are working towards educating, preventing, and assisting the general public about sexual assault. Not Alone is a website that provides a lot of really good information for students and campuses alike. Recently, they reported on the Department of Justice's Bureau of Justice Statistics' new Campus Climate Survey validation study that went into effect in January. It reports the results of 9 schools that were tested, and it was conducted to develop, basically to see what the campus climate is and to collect school-level data on sexual victimization of undergraduate students. SAFER is a nonprofit that works towards informing and empowering students to start their own campaigns combating sex and interpersonal violence in college communities and more. And they provide a lot of good links. It's really, really cool. Actually, it's something I suggest people look at. Sexual assault can be prevented in many different forms and is especially prevalent in our society amongst young people. Knowing all the facts is the first step. I gave you the definition of what is considered sexual assault, who it can affect, the laws in place on college campuses to deal with the issues, and what groups are advocating for change. As college students, this is an issue that is happening right in our backyards, so we really do need to be actively aware. After this, hopefully you all feel more knowledgeable and empowered to not just turn your cheek if you see something sketchy happening or if you know something happened to a friend or maybe to yourself.